Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Blockchain After Hours. We're doing things a little bit different today. We actually brought in a special guest, and we're going to go through what he's all about and what he does in the space, and looking forward to any questions you guys might have. We'll probably, towards the last half hour, maybe go through some Alchemy Trade stuff and take a look at the bot that I had closed, go through a couple of things that happened there, and maybe inject a little more money to have a little bit more fun with it week over week and try and show you guys some progress on there. So to start with, we have Liquid, and obviously Hidden's with us as normal, and myself, Pocket Aces.
Howdy.
AKA Justin. Thanks, Hidden. But Liquid, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, kind of let us know what you're all about and what you're doing here, and we'll go from there.
Hey, so I'm Liquid. I run a YouTube channel called Trade Tactics. I have TikTok as well, and also run the Trade Tactics Discord that has around 20,000 people. And everyone in the community is very supportive, helping each other build and automate their own strategies and bots. I've shared a lot of different kinds of prototypes in my community, in my server, and on my YouTube channel. And I am looking forward to seeing what people are capable of. I think this is an emerging field, especially with the emergence of ChatGPT. More people feel like without coding experience, they can actually get involved in this kind of thing and really build their own custom scripts.
Nice. Awesome. Yeah, there's been a lot more things growing in this space for that kind of stuff. And obviously bots have become a pretty big factor in that. So, and yeah, I took a quick look. I haven't had a chance to look around much in the Discord, but obviously, yeah, quite the community you've built, which is awesome. So hopefully we'll see a few of them in here and a few of mine, and can hopefully trade off a little bit. Hidden, did you have anywhere you wanted to go first?
How's it going, everybody, tonight? How you doing, Liquid? How's it going, Justin?
Well.
So I figured we'd bring you on, Liquid. Like you said, this is really an emerging market, AI learning in general. I don't know if maybe you want to give us a brief overview of where you start when you want to try to get a strategy automated, that type of plan. How do you plan it out, I guess, would be the easiest way of asking.
So having a strategy is one thing, and then automating it is a different component that comes after. And you're aware of the systems that I've shared of how we do that. And so I use Wick Hunter, and I pair that with my Bybit account to do that. And Wick Hunter is free. So the only thing you really need is to link it with your TradingView account. And your TradingView, in order to send external alerts, you need a paid account. So that's really the only fee that you're paying, other than commissions on the exchange as normal. So when it comes to building and constructing a strategy on TradingView using PineScript, although you can use Python or MetaTrader as well. There's those options as well, although I'm not as experienced in those. Generally, there's a lot to know about backtesting, about creating rules, and then forward testing is an entire other world where you hope that the results that you've seen through your backtests are rigorous enough and robust enough that the bot actually holds up to new data and challenges. Maybe even you really want to put your script into a bunch of complex situations to see how it performs to all this new data. And there are various pitfalls along the way that maybe I could touch on as well.
Yeah, definitely. I guess the best thing right now would be, what are some things that new users should avoid, the pitfalls they should avoid walking into when they're first trying to get started? I know I've kind of walked into some unknowingly, and then I found your community, started talking to some of the people there, and lo and behold, they said, avoid this, circumstance, or in particular trading on like the Heiken Ashy candles, that type of thing.
Yeah, the Heiken Ashy candles they're great for manual trading, and there are ways to program them into a strategy, but if you're on TradingView, you want to use normal candles when you're back testing because the calculations get all messed up. It miscalculates the back tests over back testing. So you don't really know what the bot's going to do in live testing. Some of the results you might see look 1,000,000% profit. I promise you that looks appealing, but change it to normal candles and then you'll see some more accurate results. So that's number one. And then I think number two would definitely be overfitting. Curve fitting is a concept that a lot of novices run into, where they're trying to optimize just for one goal or one result. So most commonly, people want to optimize for net profit. You may also want to optimize to minimize drawdown, the total potential loss that a strategy could incur, or various other things. So like maximum, you might want to have minimum loss per trade, or like other factors as well. Or the Sharpe ratio, Sortino ratio. Those are really common calculations to look at that investors look at in terms of the risk to reward ratios. So for curve fitting, it's really interesting what you can do if you start lining up a bunch of indicators at once and getting way over specific with your entries, which it's great if the data set you're looking at, maybe you have a free TradingView plan so you could see 500 or 5,000 candles in history, or if you have a paid account on TradingView, you could see more candles, like double or quadruple that amount. So if you're looking at a sample size of maybe like if you're on the 4-hour chart, you could see 4,000 hours of data or 5,000 hours of data. And it's really nice if you could just fit a strategy onto that data and then have that loop over and over again. And your strategy would perform great, but markets don't work like that. Exactly. The markets have a lot more dynamicness to it. And if it really was that easy, then everyone would be doing it. It would be like printing on an ATM machine. And this is a really newly accessible market, but a lot of firms have been running bots for some time, and now retail traders are starting to just get involved. And so I think this is going to shape the way that we all trade, but we have to also educate ourselves on those potential drawbacks. If your bot is not responsive to new data and it only performs historically, that gets scrapped. And I've scrapped many prototypes before in the search for something that is more dynamic. And so that's one of the main things that I would point out.
I was really hoping you were going to help us how to create an ATM machine that prints money for us. And I think Hidden might be taking me up on this, but I was just going to mention maybe there might be added value if either of you could multitask on some visuals for us, because you were mentioning a lot of technical information. I have heard some of the lingo before myself. I am no TA at all, but and I do see Hidden bringing some stuff up. So I'm assuming, do you want me to pull that up now there, Hidden? Or are you still pulling things?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, you can go ahead and put it
just to
up
kind
there.
of help with some of the data you're saying, because as much as some of these people may be well versed in some of this information, it's also nice to pull some visuals for people that maybe aren't. Not that all of this is going to probably sink into everybody's head, but definitely gives a little bit of. I love getting even overarching views of how this stuff works. So, and then somebody just threw a question in here if we wanted to interrupt with that, but then saying if a bot is more dynamic, does it increase the risk?
You really want it to be able to respond to a whole host of scenarios, and it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be so. The robustness of a bot is you could randomize data using Python, for example, and then feed it into your bot to see how it does. You could forward test it, like walking the bot forward in real time to see a new sample of data. What you can also do for free really is adjust your look back period to be half of the amount of candles that you have access to, and then once you're done tuning it, you can increase that amount fully to the full amount of candles that you have available. And then you could see, oh, actually, once I introduced those candles, it started going down. And you can look at all your on the strategy tester panel, you can see all of the history in the overview section here. So you can actually click any one of those purple lines, and it'll take you like on the graph down below. Yep. And you could go, you're going to rewind right back to that trade on the chart. So here's a good method that I would recommend. You can see there was a peak, I think 3/4 of the way back there, there's a nice peak, and then it starts trending downwards on that little green graph down below.
Yeah, I'm sorry. For some reason, the trade view chart is bugging out on me here. So you're saying like right back here?
So there's a nice peak there. So your bot was performing very well. And if you click that peak, you'll notice that there's a fall off. And this is a really, really useful strategy to do when you're building. If you click that, and I don't know what the price of ETH was at that time. I don't know how far back you're looking, but if you find the price and the trades on chart, if you go back to that exact time, if you click that peak, it'll load it.
Yeah, I seem to be having issues here with this trading deal.
ETH might have been, I don't know, like far lower or far higher, depending on where it was at that time.
So I see what you're saying. Oh, okay.
There it is. So if you click that peak again, just to see so that's the exact time for that peak. So your bot was performing very, very well up until that point. It had an uptrend. So if you go back, like you just like look at the trades leading up to that one that was highlighted on your screen in the middle of your screen. All those performed very well. You had a nice curve. It was just trending upwards. And then afterwards, it looks like here you run into some drawdown.
Yeah.
So that drawdown is the top of that slope all the way to the bottom of that slope. And then it started performing better again. So it's that downward slope on that green graph at the bottom of your screen, where that was a nice trade here. Nice. Yeah. So you just click right around there. It started going up then. So look at this nice short. There you go. There's a nice trending market. It's holding and it looks like it's just dumping. So that was really good. Leave that as is. Ideally you want to keep that at the bottom of that valley was where you clicked. Yep. So you have another one. If you go back even further, I think right there,
around here.
Yeah, at that peak. Yeah, if you click on this peak, you're going to see to the left of that trade that's highlighted right now, September, right there. Now, to the left of that, you're performing very well. But to the right, like actually on the price graph up above, you can, you can just click and scroll to see how nice those trades were to the left. Those are beautiful. Yeah, that's what you want. And if you go to the right, though, because you know that in the data, it's saying around here, it was actually not performing. You can see here, kind of tried to short. Maybe it didn't work out, which is fine. This is natural. Actually, that's not even that bad. That some of these graphs are going to be far steeper than yours. And you're never going to fully have, the optimal of this green graph would just look like it would be like a perfect line from the bottom left to the top right. There wouldn't be any kind of, it would just be perfect all the way up. You'll never achieve that. Don't set that as your goal, but that's what you want to kind of strive sort of towards. And the closer you are to that, the more likely you are to have some success, assuming your strategy is not repainting. That's another potential issue that people run into with strategies where it places all these labels on them after the action has happened and it doesn't work in real time.
Interesting.
Repainting is a common concept. There we go. There's some chop. No, these aren't too bad though. These of course, all of those, I don't know how much your commission is set to. You can check by clicking the settings or looking at the very top line. So there's two ways. You could hard code it, or you can look at the properties here and point, as long as that matches your exchange. You want to be true to your exchange. So all of this chop, a little bit of your drawdown is going to come from those commission fees for the exchange. So just keep in mind too that your over trading is another potential issue. A lot of these bots, it could be a grid bot that trades in sideways markets, or it could be a breakout bot that just catches these huge breakouts and just holds all the way to the top. But each of those have weaknesses, because a grid bot is only going to trade in a range. It's going to want to sell as soon as there is a breakout, and then a breakout bot is going to want to attempt at like every trade as soon as you're nearing resistance. So it would get chewed up if there's too much chop.
Yeah.
For example, if an EMA is like an exponential moving average from the average price over like the last 50 candles or the last 200 candles, if you're having crossovers of those again and again and again and again, you're just whittling down the account. So having a couple filters is important as well to filter out those false signals.
Sorry, this is where we are currently. So we're over here where it's starting the drawdown is starting to become greater again.
And so that's live, right? Is that currently?
This is live, yeah.
So you have some open profit, right?
Yeah.
Is this actually the bot that I shared in my Discord?
Yes.
Cool.
This is your
Ichimoku cloud. I showed exactly how I made this strategy in a YouTube video. I'm not sure if you could link that. If all the socials are links down below, so people can grab.
I did put them in the description, so everybody can find them there. I added them just now. I had your Discord at least there, but the rest of the socials I've added now. So yeah.
Awesome.
And so Gabo was just mentioning what project is this, so it's probably a good time to mention that, obviously. So this isn't a project we're looking at today, Gabo. It's just actually Liquid has his own Discord and also does his own bot trading. I guess you can describe better than I do what you do, but basically you create these and people can. Is it copy trading or something more than that?
I will be offering copy trading, but for now, a lot of people are just using the strategies that I've released some prototypes. So this is the channel you'll see at the very top. If anyone who joins the server, this is how to actually set it all up. So once you have a strategy that you would like to test, you can hook it up. And the only thing you'll need to pay for is TradingView. The Wick Hunter, like managing the APIs, all of that's free.
Very cool.
As long as if you're using Binance, I think there is a subscription, but for Bybit, there's a Bybit link I think should be in the description. If you register for Bybit on that link, Wick Hunter will detect that automatically when you link your exchange, and it'll be free.
Yep.
So there's the Ichimoku cloud. So in the Working Scripts channel, there's an even newer one that I put out, the EMA one a couple days ago. That one looks pretty cool. Bunch of people are asking questions. At the top of the channel, you can find the code for these. So there's a lot of people modifying it, yep, giving their versions and stuff. This is what's so great about the Discord, is everyone is adding a little bit to it. So I think just down below that, I reposted the script. So you could just go grab that script, paste it into your so you would, to do this, I guess on stream, just you would copy all of that. I think the best way to do it is to actually download the message.txt in the bottom right corner to make sure that you copy the whole thing, in a text file, and then select all to make sure that you grab all of it, because some people miss like the first line. And then you would, once you copy that, head over to the Pine Editor page, and anyone can just like plug this the same project that's on the screen. You can plug that in.
I always like to start with a new template because the other night I was sitting here messing around with this, and I ended up having to delete everything I've worked on for the past like week because I just confused everything and threw it all into one, and it didn't work.
Yeah. So just making clear to everyone that all of that gets deleted in the blank. You need a completely blank Pine editor. So there's some template code there. It's like 5 lines of code that TradingView gives you. Just delete it and then paste this in, and you can hit save and add to chart, and then it'll pop up. I've currently, I think this one might have been tuned to Bitcoin 4-hour. I'm not sure exactly what chart it was. I do a couple different ones, but it's possible to tune it to really any chart. As you get to smaller and smaller and smaller time frames, the hard mode goes up because there's a lot more chop, longer periods of lower volatility. Sometimes you'll get chewed out if you try to get too greedy with it. So I think 3 or 4 hours, most of the strategies that I've yeah. So this is the other one I showed on my last video, how I built this one and how I hooked it all up to live trade.
And are either of these ones, looks like somebody's asking if they're a GPT one that you showed them?
Yep. I used ChatGPT to help. So a lot of people, what they want ChatGPT to do is just build the whole thing for them. And I think once we have GPT-4 or, a larger language model, it will be able to, but ChatGPT isn't fully trained on PineScript, at least yet. But it actually can come up with really good brainstorming for strategy rules. So if you supply it any script, it can not only explain that script in natural language, which is really beneficial if you want to understand what's going on, and it can also come up with different rule sets for you, and you can test those rules, those strategy entries. So entering a long, entering a short, exiting as well. You can test those all one by one and run it through the grinder.
Cool. And Gabo wants to know if, because he found out about you, but from my channel, if there's any perks for him.
I'm
just.
I think well, that is if you come through, I'll definitely notice you. You can ping me in the server. The everything for Wick Hunter is free.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of your stuff you're not actually really charging for, which is interesting.
My philosophy is not gatekeeping this knowledge. I know other creators that are in this field and they gatekeep a lot. And what I'm banking on is, because this is a developing field, the community that I'm building will hopefully be one preparing for. I think we're all preparing for the bull market together collectively, but I think a lot of people are tired of the gatekeeping, and we all know that there are firms that are collecting our money in liquidity, in the form of our stop losses. So I really want to genuinely help people. I do offer some paid signals and stuff. I have to make some money, but most of the stuff, I think people really want to have access to things nowadays.
Cool. And somebody was saying, I guess don't forget about NordVPN link for your Discord, from your Discord. So I guess you have one there.
It should be in the links. Yeah, there should.
And something, I guess, useful when you're doing this stuff, because I know with a lot of, depending on where you're trading from, if you're doing any leverage or whatever, you can't really access it if you don't have a VPN getting you out of your area.
Yep.
Correct. And Bybit does not like the US.
Yeah, or Canada.
I actually put the VPN link in the private chat, Justin. So I don't know if you want to throw it up for everybody.
I threw all the links into
description.
the description.
Perfect.
So everybody should see them down there.
I use Nord, and I also can I can access Bybit from my country, but I use Nord regardless. It's like a couple pennies per day.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So yeah, and I will say from personal experience, this is one of the easiest ways to follow setting up and automating your own strategy. I was having some issues. I don't want to say issues. I wasn't understanding things clearly earlier, and the owner of Wick Hunter actually took the time and sat down and went through things with me. So now I better understand how the different things on, like if I go to create bot here, understanding entry size type, the actual entry size. Because what a lot of people, and myself included, were doing is, you come over here, you just hit, whatever margin mode, cross or isolated, you click 10x confirm, and then you put in a market or a limit order. But what most people don't understand is how the margins actually work. So if you want to do this, you go over to Liquid's Discord and you do run into any issues. Both Wick Hunter and Liquid are super helpful. Everybody over in the Discord is super helpful. It takes time. I mean, Liquid, how long did it take for you before you got, your first super successful strategy?
It was honestly a couple years of learning how to get into it. There's a funny story of how I got into, I guess it's officially called algorithmic trading. But I've been sort of calling it AI trading now because ChatGPT is just such a huge perk to have. So in 10 years, I think maybe the language models will be able to build you a full strategy from scratch. For now, the methods I'm using, just using ChatGPT to add some pepper, just some salt and pepper onto what you're working with from the public database on TradingView is the most reliable method for me. So if anyone wants to hook this up, I think there's the video I just put up on my channel a couple days ago. I went through the whole process of troubleshooting, going through all of it, showing how it's all done. And so I don't know if you could drop that. That's probably the most helpful link right away. And I use this EMA strategy in the video. That's the ultimate guide. That's the one.
Oh, the YouTube one. Okay, so we just put that one. The YouTube one, I think that he's talking about. I'll just drop that in the chat right now.
Perfect. We do have another question in there from Bargain Store. What risk management do you use, Liquid?
Okay, so this is the most important question, but it's also the most, you want to layer your risk management. So some people, here's the thing is if your bot is having good entries, technically that's risk management, but it's just indirect risk management. So if you can have your bot flip from a long to a short at the correct time, technically there's your risk management. Now, for me, in my methodology, I try to optimize that first before I think about any stop losses or anything like that. And then stop losses are that final layer. You want to have a stop loss, of course. If you're sleeping or driving and your bot's running, you just want to have that peace of mind in case there's just some massive candle or whatever. But you actually want to back test your stop loss. So some people might think that 2, 3, 4% is the best stop loss. The backtesting is going to tell you it might be 5%. It might even be 10%. Like, it's going to hurt if you hit a 10% stop loss, but maybe your entries are not exactly perfect, and having that wider stop loss just gives you a little bit more freedom. And it's all about statistics overall. So, for example, you might not even win 50% of your trades, but if you take a shot at every single breakout, that statistically, that appears, at least in my back testing, that actually seems to work. So I'll have, like, my average winning trade would be 10%, but my average losing trade would only be like minus 1.5%. Or so you're still net profit if you can see right here in the win-loss ratio as well.
So you're talking catching it kind of on a slight upswing as opposed to trying to catch the bottom where you could be catching a falling knife kind of example?
They're actually the name Wick Hunter, the creator was telling me that the way that he came up with the branding for that was he created a strategy to look for liquidations in the market, and it would try to catch these really quick reversals on those. So you'd set some. You can actually do it right now on Wick Hunter. It's possible to look at the liquidations, set a threshold, and if there's over a certain amount of liquidations and the VWAP is over a certain amounts away from the average, you'll typically see those really big long wicks on the chart. And he said he did fairly well from after he tested that strategy. So here's the list of all the liquidations that have happened. Again, like in the hundreds, it's not that big of a deal, but if you see thousands, hundreds of thousands, or sometimes even in big crashes, you'll see millions. There's an okay one. That one's okay. He's like, if you actually went to that chart at that time, you could like look at what happened. You can like reverse search. So that was his strategy for that. But the issue is those wicks. If you're in a trade and you just get barely wicked out because your stop loss was there, that's the number one downfall of retail traders, is being able to keep a level head, and like during a trade, if you're in the red, and with the bot, there's kind of no emotions involved. As long as, if you're paying attention to it, you're going to have emotions involved, right?
As long as you hold your emotions back. Because I've even heard people, doing bots, and then they end up canceling them out too early or liquidating them too early. And it's like, oh man, you should have held on.
So you should babysit your bot. I'm not going to recommend total hands off. At least, like if you have working systems. So what you generally want to do is set up some kind of. You want to have a bunch of different bots running with different settings on very low accounts. Obviously any kind of loss on those is irrelevant to you.
Mm-hmm.
And there is paper trading. Wick Hunter doesn't have paper trading because they said that the APIs were not accurate to the actual exchange results. So there's open to adding that in, but that was actually the first question I asked them. Do you have paper trading? And he said,
I think a big part of that is, I'm sorry to cut you off. I think a big part of that might be that it doesn't actually take into account the, like when you buy in, it doesn't take into account price movement of buys and
price
sells.
impact.
Price impact, yeah.
Yeah.
So Bargain Store was just asking how much capital will you do? Or I'm assuming how much capital do you usually put in, or what is there kind of a minimum max when you're playing with these kind of bots?
So it depends the coin. So, Bitcoin is, I think,
liquidity. So
$23 is the minimum order for Bitcoin. So if you tried putting in an order under that, you'll see it in the Wick Hunter logs if the signal has to fire live. But you won't actually see an order open on Bybit. And if it does open, you could see it. You can see your stop loss level automatically placed on your Bybit chart. Now, you just have to make sure you're at that minimum level when you're testing. You can also of course do internal testing within TradingView. So you don't need anything really. You just leave your settings the way they are. Leave the time frame the way it is, because the time frame is critical as well.
And it'll give you kind of a fake, this is what percentage you would have gone had you gone in on whatever amount.
Yep. It'll still show the trade results, and you can still see kind of like for a month or more, like how did it perform over this time period.
Neat. And we kind of touched on this a little bit.
There's the trade list right there. So yeah, you just look from here forward.
Cool. And we kind of went into this a little bit, but obviously, so there is mostly an automated system that this creates for you, but there is some degree of needing to kind of be around, and again, or setting a stop loss to protect yourself if there was anything drastic if you weren't paying attention.
Yeah, it is fully automated. So you could take a script ID if you know the trade logic, like in natural language. So if you know that typically, hey, this is my strategy when I'm day trading. It has to be over this EMA, or it has to have this rule, or like a set of rules. If you're able to put that rule set into code, which sounds daunting, but ChatGPT is building us a bridge, thankfully, you could fully automate it. And you would want to monitor how it's going at first, and then the bots that do perform, you would just allocate more money into those. And the bots that aren't performing in real time, you would reduce the amount and then probably cut them if it's a consistent loss thing. I've cut lots of bots off and then funneled money into the working ones.
So, Dave, these trade on centralized exchanges. So, as far as taxes and buy-sell fees, you only really have the commission fees. This isn't a DEX-oriented one like Alchemy Trades. And so, Bargain, your question about what time frame is the best, that's really going to depend on your strategy, what you tune it to, because some tokens at 30 minutes will behave better than other tokens at 30 minutes.
The time frame is a little bit challenging. You can't see, so you can see 5,000 candles on a free TradingView account, for example. So if you're on the 30-minute chart, you can only see like 2,500 hours. So multiply 30 by 2, you get 5,000 hours divided by 2 is 2,500 hours. And so you would have to you can do deep back testing. It looks like you have access to deep back testing on your account. You have the TradingView Premium. So that's a paid thing that they've added. Of course, bot traders really, really like that. That's a great thing to access, and they make you pay for it, for the juicy stuff.
Yeah.
So if anyone's actually really serious about doing this, then depending on how serious you are, you might want to go for Premium TradingView. I definitely would never go without it myself. After that, I've had it have access to deep back testing, more candles, more data. I think you can get free TradingView for a month, a free plan for a month trial.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think there is one.
So scalp trading, a little bit more risky. The number one thing I would encourage is for people to not tunnel vision on the net profit number. That is the easiest thing to do, and it's good. It's just if that's the only thing that you're looking at, you're going to run into various pitfalls. So you want to actually look at all the other numbers as well. So firms that are managing large amounts of money, they don't really care as much about the net profit. They actually really primarily care about max drawdown. If that number is too high, they do not want to get involved with that.
Nice. Cool.
Which you can hover your mouse over max drawdown, or you can click it and it'll pull up exactly what that is.
Can you see that?
If you click it, it'll pull up the panel, I think. Did it not pull it up?
It doesn't.
It's the maximum theoretical loss that your strategy would have incurred. So if your max drawdown is 30%, it's nice that it looks like this one bounced back, but what would have happened if it just never bounced back? You would have had issues.
Nah.
And you wouldn't have been able to attain this profit if you didn't take the risks you took, right? Like you kind of needed that drawdown to get to where this strategy is currently, but
for example, this one right here.
Yeah. So the drawdown on an individual trade, what that looks like is if you enter and then there's a red candle afterwards. So you didn't get the perfect bottom.
Okay, yeah.
But it bounced back. It bounced back, so you're in profit, right? So that trade closed profitably. Yep, you're in the green. It just wasn't and you shouldn't be going for the perfect bottom anyway. That's another kind of beginner. That's the rookie hole. That's the rookie mistake. Trying to get
it all together.
You don't want it to be perfect. You don't need it to be perfect. You should be trying to get a small slice of pie. The big firms might get a big piece of pie, but as long as you are getting a little piece of it, you are going to be a really happy trader.
Nice. Yeah, I personally set mine to 10% take profit. I take 10% each time. Even that is higher than most people, I'm sure. But but I've been finding I've been having good luck with that.
Nice. Pure Wicked just has a nice fairly compliment. So Pure Wicked's actually one of my regulars, and so I appreciate you coming here. And Hidden obviously brought Liquid to us, so I appreciate that. Always nice to open up to some different conversations on our little Monday night chats. And my 2 cents also likes that. Dave, not completely sure how to ask this, but how dangerous can leverage trades be with the bot?
I would lay off the leverage. You can just do 1x, leave it on 1x at least while you're training it, or like trying to understand how it performs live. And you really want to see how it does in challenging markets. So when the bot is not performing, the way that you would calculate how much leverage would be safe is to look at your max drawdown. You'd want to look at your loss. So like if you're anywhere close to 50% drawdown, I probably wouldn't use a bot with anywhere close to that, but you would get liquidated with 2x leverage doing that.
Yeah, I just upped it to 5x leverage right now, and we're still
only at 15% max drawdown.
35, yeah.
So if your strategy is more risky, you're going to be in that third. Historically, I've seen like anywhere up to like 40% drawdown for more risky types of strategies. But I've seen other strategies that are like far lesser, and it kind of depends on what kind of trader you are, how risky you want to be, because you don't need to get the nice juicy percent profit gains. And I should add a note there, so you can see the percent profit gains on this. It's like is that over 1,000 or
3,600? Yeah.
Yeah, 3,600. I mean it looks good. The way you get there is compounding. So if your bot starts with $100 and then it makes a 20% gain, you have $120. The next trade will have $120. So to be able to actually get that compounding interest, you would go, I think you could go into Wick Hunter in the bot panel.
View bot or create bot?
I think it's in might be create a bot. I haven't memorized exactly where this one is. It's the entry size type, I believe, percent. So you would want it, you could have a fixed amount, which is dollar, or percent. And then the percent is going to be just like I don't think you would be able to put 100% in, but you would, because of fees and stuff, so that the order wouldn't actually execute, but it would be like somewhere close to that. Like you could even just do like 95 or whatnot.
95, 98%.
And what that is doing, though, just a note, is it's looking at your derivative accounts in Bybit. So it would be using 95% of your derivative account. So you can, in Bybit, I think you get access to free sub accounts. So you could do this all separately, or you would just allocate it here, like 5% here, 5% there. And then it would just, whatever the account size is, it would just add 5%. Or it would take a trade of 5% of whatever's in the account.
And just since we're talking about drawdown.
One more thing here, the max open positions there on that other panel you were at, just a second ago. So that's the other thing. If you ever do manage more than one bot, sometimes they're going left, right, and center. The max open positions is another like limiting thing that, again, might not affect everyone, but if you have more than one and you're just testing prototypes and to see which one works in forward testing, then you would want to limit that to something reasonable for your account. You wouldn't want to have too many signals, because you could be doing this on the 1 minute chart, and it could be having just so like tons of positions open.
Makes sense.
Cool. And just because we were talking about drawdown there, just asking, the max drawdown is the amount you're completely risking, which kind of, I guess, is true.
It's the maximum theoretical loss.
Yeah.
So it's not actually a loss because you're in profit, but it's the theoretical loss. So the reason why that's important is because in the future, the data just may not play out the same way. It's just rolling the dice in the future for whether this is going to line up very similarly. Again, patterns are important. Maybe it will repeat, but if it doesn't, you want to see how your bot would actually, what the outcome would have been.
Nice. And so not necessarily Binance or Kucoin, but you have to be logged into an exchange or something. So either Bybit or something like that, I presume, for this, right?
It works with Bybit or for free. If you have Binance, then it's, I think, $19.99 a month is the subscription.
That's right. Some of them do have fees, to do the, or to hook it up kind of thing.
Yeah, through Wick Hunter, I believe.
Yeah. And Wick Hunter links to your exchange. So you could go to the exchange panel here at the top left. And so to link your exchange, it would just be at connect account there, and you would go into your API settings, and just never share your private key with anyone. Never share your private key.
Yep. Now, I guess with all this stuff, I'd like to get all this set up kind of thing from scratch. Is that kind of through your YouTube, through your Discord, through all the methods, if they wanted to kind of research this a little further?
Yep. The YouTube's the best way for kind of like those tutorial videos of seeing what's actually going on and seeing how it happens. And then if people are trying to apply it, then the Discord is the best place to either quickly reach me or Wick Hunter. It's great having them here. I've worked with a couple other platforms that it's really hard to reach their support. Like you're waiting a day to just get a simple question answered. Huh. So it's really nice to have them in the server. They're great.
Nice. A couple of just thank yous across the board there. Love the open source mentality and thing. Awesome. Great info, guys. And Que Paso, I can't remember. I think that means thanks, gents. But yay, after hours. Thanks for coming around, guys. And I guess, so we do like to kind of cut it off in the hour. I do want to spend a tiny bit of time setting up a Alchemy Trades bot on my side, because I did move some more money over there. Was there anything else you'd like to share? Because I did appreciate this. I mean, I know we said 30 minutes, but that's no big deal on my part. I'm happy to go on and on about some of this stuff, especially when the audience is enjoying the content. Obviously, like I said, and you may have to reload your page, everybody, because I did update all the contact details through the description of the video below. So what you may have to do is after the video is over, if you just reload the page, all his links to pretty much everything I've loaded up in there. So you'll have everything you need to go and find Liquid and give him a little bit of love or a little bit of likes or on his YouTube or anything like that. Obviously, anybody from his direction, I'm not opposed to you subscribing or liking or anything on my channel. But is there anything else you wanted to say, Liquid?
Thanks for inviting me. This was super fun to do.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm not a big trader. Hidden's my talent guy when it comes to that, but I do appreciate learning it. I do want to learn more. Unfortunately, just time and regular 9 to 5 and all that holds me back a little bit for now, but I look forward to possibly spending some time in your Discord and getting my own kind of knowledge built up from it. So I do appreciate some of the info you gave and definitely glad to know you now.
Sweet. Thanks, Justin and Hidden.
You're welcome to stick around. It's not going to be anything, but basically we're just going to head over to my server or my VPS that I have set up where we will possibly take a chance and find out a new trade that we're going to do. I did move over some more money, Hidden, so we're going to deal with 1K instead of the 250 because we had a problem with the last one.
Oh, going big.
Well, I figured we're on BSC, and so yes, we'll start having some fun with a little larger numbers and see how it performs because we kind of got nowhere with the last one. So,
well, I think we should tell the audience what happened with that. Yeah. What happened with that is we were doing Wombat BUSD, I believe.
Yes.
Was it the BNB beforehand? Either way,
Wombat, for sure.
It moved out of your upper limit. It looked like.
Yeah, it actually hit the upper limit. So I was like, boom, I got 8%. That was crazy. And I didn't.
Yeah. So as you know, with grid bots, as you get towards the top, you get away from holding the token and actually go into holding in all in whatever token you're taking in profit. So he was holding 100% BUSD and 0 WOM at that point.
Yeah. So it happens, but it is what it is.
It's a good thing to have, but if you're not paying attention to it, it can get kind of annoying.
Yeah, exactly. So did you happen to have a look already for something that we may want to play around with?
I was, and the funny thing is, it looks like everything is starting to slowly go back down the toilet.
Yeah, good timing on my part.
I mean, cake is always a very good one. Let me just see where we're at real quick with that.
So I got, hey, look at our Discord. Looking forward to getting some info. Good job. Glad we found you some more people. It's always kind to share the love. And thank you, aka Dominic. Oh, okay, yes.
All right. Yeah, so Cake B&B might not be a bad pair to hop on
It's
to.
always an easy one, so why not?
They're right in the middle of the RSI on that one too.
Cool. Oh yeah, do we want to check this as well?
It's gonna be.
Didn't we want to check something on here though?
And yeah, go to grid.
Oh, that's right.
So up that to 1, and put that gas at 300,000.
Go tokens.
So the reason I'm having Justin do that, just so everybody is aware, back in early V4, late V3, we were having issues with Polygon as a chain in of itself, and we found that the optimal settings for most of the chains are 1 slippage and anything over 300,000 gas. It's just makes things a lot easier, runs smooth.
Perfect. And I should have just pulled up the thing while you were talking, but let's pull up Dex Screener and oh, there we go. Now I saved it. Dex. Sorry, we said BUSD. We're thinking.
Yeah. And I do have one other question from somebody over in Liquid's Discord, Otto. Unfortunately, looks like Liquid left before we could talk
yes,
about
he
that.
did send a quick message saying he was going to have to take off.
So, unfortunately, we missed out on that one there, Otto. I apologize.
There we go. So we've added cake on there now. Getting a good little collection of stuff. So we're gonna. Oh, I guess weird. It actually hasn't gotten out of this one. Come on. I technically did that, but
is your terminal still running?
It must be.
Yeah, I would just close that and restart everything just to be on the safe side.
There we go. Now I got to remember how to run it all. It's been a while. I run it from terminal, right?
On a VPS, I don't use a VPS.
Oh, darn it. All right, now we're going to be in. I do this, so I even did the training video on how to do it, but
it's been so long for you.
Do it myself. Let me see if I can figure out a way. All right, maybe I'll start it up after the video, so I'm not having everybody sit around here while I figure that out. But I'll get that started up for everybody, and we'll revisit that the next time we meet up. Let me close that off.
Definitely.
Remove. Thanks so much for joining by. A couple of people like Cake and Pie. Got funny guys in the house. Funny people. If anybody has any questions, obviously throw them out to us. Next week, we kind of just play this, kind of wing it in the most part. Hopefully we'll get some more people from the Alchemy Trades crew to hang out with us. We can definitely go through. We did talk about a couple of times doing kind of a full install of Alchemy Trades, which we're happy to do in the next one if we don't have somebody else by. But we've kind of just sort of had an opportunity to have a great special guest. So that was a nice little bonus, a nice little treat for us. If anybody else knows of anybody that they'd like to see come on here, we're kind of, like I said, we're kind of freeballing it and happy to do whatever adds value to you guys and makes your time with us worthwhile. Anything else hidden you'd like to add? Any market updates or anything you wanted to plug?
Nothing at the moment.
Flat. I guess it'll be interesting to see what happens Wednesday.
Yes,
That'll be our fun day. So we might actually have some good stuff to talk about on Monday, depending on a good or bad or all in the middle.
Well, I guess it depends on if you're shorting or long in the market. Huh?
And which one wins, but I'm assuming the shorts will win this one.
Unfortunately, with shorts come, economic issues. So,
yeah.
But.
Yep. Awesome. All right, guys. Well, thank you again for joining us. I do appreciate it. I guess we're kind of ending 5 minutes early, but that's not so bad. And as I said, I'll have that Cake BUSD running for this week, and we'll see how that performs and hopefully get some more consistent kind of rolling views of how Alchemy trades are performing. I put in the extra little amount. I moved it to 1K. I'm not trying to show off or nothing. It's just with BUSD, with BSC, you kind of have to have a little bit more because of the gas fees and stuff. And this was creating some of the problems when I was dealing with the $250 mark. So I just moved some money over to really show us what it can do. If you did want to deal with smaller numbers, obviously Polygon or AVAX or any of those ones can handle it quite well, and you can go in very easy trades with like AVAX, USDC, and do some pretty okay returns over time, just kind of keeping slow and steady wins the race kind of thing with that. That makes sense. Anything to add to that, Hidden?
Definitely keep in mind grid bots are a long term. You're not going to be scalping, 20-30%, a day.
No.
Well, I shouldn't say that, only because we have had some crazy stuff happen in the past. However, generally speaking, you are going to be a good return for a grid bot is 0.5% to 1% a day.
Yeah, which is still amazing.
Yeah.
But especially if you can get that consistently. So awesome. Anything else, sir, before we close it out?
No, I think we had a good night tonight.
Yeah. I'm glad I was feeling better. This weekend I had the friggin' flu, so that's why I hadn't put any content out. So glad to finally get on here. And can you copy trade users with Alchemy trades? This has actually been asked a couple of times. Unfortunately, there is no system for that right now. I think we had Alchemy and Surge on here, 2 times ago or something like that, before Christmas or around Christmas. And it definitely perked their interest. It is something that is in their mind. How long it will take for that kind of feature to come out, it's going to take some time.
Yep. So. V5 definitely, just don't know an exact date.
Yes. Yeah. But V5, it's not coming with copy trading, is it?
No.
Okay. Nope. Yeah. But after V5 comes out, obviously some of these new features that they've thought of or been suggested, I'm sure they'll look into. But for now, right now, it's going to be just to get V5 out, which has tons of upgrades as it is. So, do I have a play? You know what? I never thought of that. I guess I could set up a playlist. They are on. So when you go to my Discord here, I'll share this super quick, just because I don't think a lot of people realize how the live streams work. Blue Dance. Yeah, we'll get on that. What do I do? I want to present. I want to share screen window. I can see the background of what we do. Actually, I don't want to do that screen. Damn it. That's going to make it look all funny. Present. Share screen. By YouTube. That's the one I want to share. So when you actually go to my YouTube channel, basically, oops, I guess I didn't want to do that, is you'll go to live, and that's where all the blockchain ones are. So you can actually see them right there. I should do a little thing, though, to separate them out now. But basically, we've done these. This is our 5th one. So we did one about a month ago. So basically, they're all spread out there. Nice and easy to find with our nice yellow little thumbnail. And yeah, that's basically that. Stop sharing. I left it on there. All right. Sorry. Anyways, we're babbling now. But we took ourselves almost to the 1 hour mark. Good job. So thanks again so much, guys. And thanks, Hidden, for joining me. And thanks for inviting Liquid on. That was a very interesting guest to have on. And
yeah, definitely. It was a good night tonight.
And it's really funny that guess who just messaged us on our chat?
Who's that?
May.
Oh, yeah?
It's like I'm 20 minutes away from being free at 10 o'clock even. Oh, that guy. So, yes, May was somebody we've tried to get on here a few times, but keeps averting us magically. So, No problem. Yeah, thank you too. Thanks you for joining. We can't really do this without an
Thank you for
audience, and we
joining.
had a good little audience all day, all hour long. So I appreciate you guys for sticking around, and glad this was interesting for you. So, and I will leave that 5th or 6th buy that I've said to the last one. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Take care, guys.